In 1987, authorities identified a man who had been hired to commit 200 murders. They knew his name. They knew his address. To understand how someone reaches that level, the level of existing beyond the reach of any government, you need to understand how that world works. Not like the movies show it, how it really works. This video will show you each stage of this man's life, from his first job to his last. And in the end, you'll understand why the system never managed to touch him. But there's a question that will stay in your mind afterward. Was he a monster? Or was he the product of a system that needed him to exist? He wasn't born a murderer. That's what nobody tells you. He was born in a roadside town, the son of a mechanic and a laundress, in 1948. At 17, he was recruited not by a cartel, not by a mafia, but by the government itself. That's right. His first job was official, legal, uniform and all. And it was precisely there that he learned the first and most important rule of this world. The greater the power of those in charge, the less chance you have of being arrested. The problem is that when his contract with the government ended, his skills didn't disappear, and the market for them was enormous. But what exactly did he do for the government? And why, after 8 years, did they simply fire him? The answer to that changes everything you think you know about this case. Most people imagine a professional assassin like in the movies. Black suit, silencer, 5-star hotel. The reality is completely different and more terrifying. His method was total invisibility. He never accepted direct cash payments. He used a chain of 3 intermediaries, each knowing only the link immediately before them. If one was captured and talked, the investigation died right there. He never operated in the same country for more than 45 consecutive days. And the strangest rule, he never accepted political contracts. Never. Because he knew that political contracts attract political investigations, and political investigations never close. What did he accept? Corporate contracts, inheritance disputes, internal conflicts within organized crime, things that the police investigate for 6 months and forget about. But there was one contract that broke all the rules, a contract that he himself said he should never have accepted, and it was that contract that almost ended everything. 1994, Yugoslavia was collapsing, and someone, to this day it's unknown who, paid an absurd amount for a contract that was essentially impossible, to eliminate a protected witness within an American witness protection program. He knew it was a trap. His intermediary knew it was a trap, but the number was too large to ignore. What happened in the following 30 days is why historians of organized crime still debate this case. He didn't just complete the contract. He did it in a way that made the CIA itself conclude that the death had been natural. But someone within the operation leaked a photo, a single traceable piece of information. And for the first and only time in 40 years of his career, they came close. Very close. The agent in charge of the investigation described it this way. It was like chasing a shadow. Always one step behind. Always. But what this agent didn't know was that at that moment, he himself was already being watched. What the investigation failed to grasp at the time, and which only came to light years later, was that he had prepared his exit with the same precision with which he prepared each operation. 3 complete legal identities in 3 different countries. A company registered in the name of a distant relative who didn't even know the business existed, and an account at a bank that closed in 1998, taking all the records with it. But the most ingenious element? He simply stopped. Completely. In 1996, 2 years before any investigation got close to him, he became a retired gentleman in a small town. He made friends. He frequented the same bakery every morning for 23 years. And when the authorities finally got the right name, there was already a completely different man with that name. A grandfather, a familiar neighbor, a baptismal witness. You don't arrest this man without destroying the reality of 40 people around him. So what does this case tell us? That corrupt systems create people who learn to live above them. That the same structures that should punish behaviors like his were the first to finance them. And that in the end, the difference between a criminal and a state agent is often just the contract being signed. He died in 2019. Obituary published in the local newspaper. 47 grandchildren. 38 years as an active member of the parish. Dozens of people attended the wake. None of them knew who they were actually burying. And could you identify someone like that? Because this man was not an exception. He was a system. And this system is still operating. Under other names. In other countries. Perhaps closer than you imagine. If you've made it this far, you're exactly the type of person who will enjoy the next video. Because the story that follows is even more disturbing. And this time, it has documented evidence. The subscription button is right there. The decision is yours.